Read the disclaimer.
What's good, guys? Welcome back to the COG podcast. I'm Charles.
Jason.
And we are back at it here a few weeks off. Kind of got some pictures finally up on the wall. It's all crooked though.
Yeah,
That's the room for all you guys who can get out there and see it. It's crooked. It's the room. A room slanted.
it's kind of cute. It adds character.
Yeah. But so today we actually have some cool things happening here on the podcast. You brought your Orcust cards so that we can show some Orcust combos, considering Battles of Legend is dropping this Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you guys don't know, Orcust, Fabled, Punk, Gym Knight, Necroz,
I
and
think that's it.
is Dragon Maid coming out in it?
Oh, there are some Dragon Maid.
Yeah, Dragon Maid. Yeah, it's all coming out this Friday from Battles of Legend. And so we figured we should show some Orcust combos here on the podcast. Yeah. So some discussion to talk about is, let's see, I have it pulled up here. So of course you're excited for Orcust, right?
Oh,
so like yeah, you're a resident Orcust player. You ended up getting your invite with Orcust before like when Harp was at 1.
Yep, when Harper, it was like right before Fiendsmith came out. It's like right before Fiendsmith, Snake Eyes was going.
Yeah, and that's wild. So what exactly? So I think we've all heard talk about it, from a non-Orcust player to an Orcust player. What does the new stuff bring?
Oh man, it brings a lot. So like everything is like potentially like a one card combo. Yeah, there's better starters, but if you draw like just one Harp, and you're like, oh, I have no way to get to the graveyard, you can just normal summon it, and then boom, you got to instantly
full combo. Yeah, like link off. Yeah, link one. Yeah. Even I've seen some lists from like the DB Grinder. Some people are playing that Brass Bombard now. Is that like?
Yeah, I mean, 1-for-1, right? So like if you have a 1-for-1 and a Nightmare, something in hand, easy discard fodder.
Yeah. Okay.
So even if you ash the 1-for-1, I'm still gonna discard a Nightmare, and then I still got semi.
Yeah.
Combo,
you still have Nightmares and Graveyard to have rotation. Yeah.
But it's gonna kill the ash, and then you still hopefully have a normal summon. So, I mean, Brass Bombard by itself, like any one card Orcust, is still link one, and you're off to the races.
And it's a tuner too. I don't know if that can come up in like new Orcust lines, but
potentially, depending if you have like a really weird build, I would say, but it's never really. I mean, potentially, yeah. There's like bring back Savage, I guess, but like
free Savage.
Yeah, but potentially there's lines, right?
Yeah, you could do okay. And then I know so the Gym Knights are getting new support, and the Gym Knight cards are like super generic. Like they still don't have like no like good boss monster to end on, but like they just can do some crazy stuff. There's like a Hollow Core, I think is its name. It's like a Magician Souls. Dump a Gym Knight fusion from deck, summon itself, and then banish 3 Gym Knights, I think, from the graveyard. It's an Omni negate an effect. And then they got a Gym Knight Seraphim, which is like it gives an additional normal summon. And they got that new fusion that tributes itself to summon 3 fusions.
Yeah, like they got some pretty nutty stuff. I haven't really read up on them recently. I think I read them when they first were announced, but definitely some cool stuff. I don't know, are they still like a really strong FTK?
No. So like the new cards even make it to where like I think the Sephrim or something like that, it says you only take half effect damage for the turn. So like they've really tried to push away from the FTK.
Thank God.
So I don't even know if the FTK was like really doable after they've hit like everything with it, but I know that the new stuff they're definitely, you can see that Konami's direction is trying to get that deck away from FTK.
Right. Brilliant Fusion came back as well.
To 1, yep.
To 1, yeah. Yep. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and they got I think they have like a Shadal fusion like card or something like that. It does it has 2 effects on it. It's like a Rhoda and a fusion, and you can use both effects in the same turn, but not like both. You can use both effects, but not the same effect twice.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see. Hopefully, there's something that good comes out of it. Does it lock you into Gem Knights at all?
No. Like the inboard is like super generic essentially, because since they don't have like their own inboard boss monsters, like you're ending on like IP. You can do the Fiendsmith stuff. And then like you have the Hollow Core or Hallowed Core in the graveyard, along with like some Gym Knights and stuff like that out in the field. I don't know. There might be a way. There's like an Amethyst, I think is its name. If it gets like sent to graveyard, it compulses everything. So I don't know, as I'm not a Gym Knight player, but I think I saw somewhere that they're able to set that up with a way to send it. So like that's like the most Gym Knight interruption you get is that during their turn you can send your Gym Knight to bounce everything. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty cool to see Gym Knights get some support though, because the last support I got was I think the Link 2, I think.
Quartz, was it Quartz?
It might have been Quartz, yeah.
Yeah,
Gym Knight Quartz. And then I think the new, because Gym Armadillo is searchable now, and it used to not be searchable because it was a gym card. not a gym knight, but a gym card. Now they have a card that searches a gym card, so you can like make Armadillo like a 1-card combo in a way.
Yeah.
And then we know Punk's coming out, and I haven't really looked much into the Punk stuff except for I know their new XYZs and Negate.
Yep. So Fever is a negate, so it basically protects you against Nibiru, and then for the life of me I can't remember the new level 8, but it's really good too.
I'm trying to think of its name as well. It just
I think it's like oh man, I just had the effect.
It's like right there. I see it, but
it's like an E-Telly. It's like, doesn't it? Especially
something from the deck. Yeah,
something from the deck. So like,
it's like right there too. I've just recently saw it on a video, so that's why it's like right there. You guys will know. You guys just comment down below.
Correct us, yeah.
And then other than that, like I know Punk's kind of always been like kind of crazy, right? Like it's always needed like a few more cards to get it there. So it'll be interesting to see if we see any Punk take off from.
I've been seeing a lot of Punk Fiendsmith. I mean,
of course,
of course, yeah. But it does some pretty cool stuff actually. I'm pretty excited about Punk.
Yeah, Punk's always been kind of like, I know like one card isn't like one card like it's been used in a lot of other Punks have been used in the engine because it has like a 1 card rank 8 or something like that. Then like you could like bridge into Vampire.
Yeah, fun fact, I actually played a Punk Orcust back in the day, right before Hulk got banned. Because going back to Bros Bombard was a tuner, so like you do your Punk combos and then get Hulk with some of the Bombard, and then you go Orcust combos with Galatea and everything.
Wow, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I missed that.
Speaking of Hulk, it's kind of crazy that card hasn't been brought back to us with Crystron getting its wave of support and it doing so well. Like it has. Yeah,
I think they could bring Hulk back. Like
I think.
I mean, you banned Baron. Baron's gone. I mean, Apollosa's gone, so you can't really, use that free link too for that type of fodder. So I think Hulk could come back.
I think it's banned in the other formats too. So it's like they could bring it back and they could technically errata it, because we noticed that cards that are banned in all the formats normally get like errated and then brought back. Like Summon Sork, like she was banned in every TCG, Master Duel, OCG, and then they like errated her and then brought her back. Yeah, so like they could do that with Hulk, I think.
She's coming out in the TCG errated.
Yeah. We get her Battles of Legends. We get the errata text with her. Sweet. Yep. And then let's see here, Gym Knight. We have Necros. Necros is coming out. That's what I'm excited for. I ended up sending it to our group chat, but somebody put in the comment section, they're like, this 2-card combo gets you to this, and but didn't tell me how to do it. So I sat for hours trying to bust it myself. I even went onto like the Facebook group trying to find out, and finally someone in the Facebook group they're like, I found it, and we ended up trying it, and it's just kind of insane. But the thing that scares me about that is it's a 2-card combo that's like 16 steps to do the whole inboard, and it just kind of made me think, like, if this 2-card combination gets you to this, like how many other 2-card combinations that are this like in detail or this lengthy can get you to that? And it's like, oh, it made my brain hurt. I was like, they've got to be, if this plus this gets you all the way to like this crazy inboard, they have to be multiple ways to do it, Oh yeah. So it's like, what are those other ways? So
if Charles goes missing for a couple months, he's like has the thumbtacks and the strings and
like trying to figure it out.
Always Sunny reference.
Trying to figure it out, but it's pretty cool. That's kind of cool to see that. Even though, like, I mean, if you think of ritual decks, right, Mitsurugi's still probably the best ritual deck we have out. So it's just going to be overshadowed by.
I'm sure that'll win Nance.
No, Mitsurugi. I think so too.
Yeah.
And then let's see here: Gym Knight, Punk, Orcust, Fabled. Which I don't know about Fabled. They're light fiends, so like Fiendsmith are going to be able to do stuff with them. But they've got some decent cards. I thought like their new boss monster did something pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so out of the loop right now, but like, definitely with like Fiendsmith, I do believe that like, I think they logged into synchros at some point, maybe.
Probably, yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, please. But
maybe.
Like, I think maybe you get locked into synchros, but yeah, I mean, there's always Fiendsmith lines. They're all light fiends.
Yeah, they all have synergy. Every one of them can just, I think, equal into Requiem right off the bat.
So I'm sure if they eat a couple hand traps, then.
Fiendsmith. Dude, I was playing today, and it was like Fiendsmith, and I'm trying to think of the other card that he used. Oh, it's killing me. I can't think of it. And I thought I had him because I stopped access to both, and then he normal summoned Tenpai Pedro and killed me in the battle phase. Dude, I was so mad.
Pedro. Don't vote Pedro.
Dude, he like tried to go into Requiem. I call by the grave of the Lori. He put 2 bodies together, made Requiem anyway. I was like, sweet. Like, I'm okay, I can Book a Moon, whatever he summons. He summoned out Lacrima, Book a Mooned it, and then I was like, 2 cards left in hand. I was like, okay, he has no more pushes left, right? Normal summon Pedro. And I was like, oh my god. And then battle phase, I just got blasted. Made me so mad. Made me realize why this deck is pretty bad.
Cancerous,
yeah. But, and other than that, do have a lot of like crazy stuff coming out on the horizon that I wanted to talk about here in the podcast, and that was the theme that we've seen going on is turn zero interaction as power creep. And we kind of touched base on this a little bit. I know that like a few weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, I shot you a message, want to talk about it. Then a few other YouTubers ended up making the same videos. So we're late to the party, even though we were probably first to the party. We showed up too early to the party, and then the cool guys arrived, and now they're the cool people taking our spotlight.
Yeah.
But the game has went from, I think the first turn zero, like I'm not talking about hand traps, because hand traps are technically turn zero interaction, right? But like the decks having turn zero interaction, I think like we have Labyrinth was like the prototype, right? It was the start of it, but they, So What use Ku Klok, or not Ku Klok, the Stilby Tuber and the Chandelier to like set a trap. That's not too crazy, because. But then it started getting crazy when you were like pitching a trap, setting something like Drew McKinnon, and pitching clock and turn zero Drew McKinnon your opponent. But that happened far and few between. Then we saw that Malice got their like hand trap, which allows them to push and extend farther. And then coming out next, I think there might be one more I'm forgetting that's an in-theme hand trap, I think. But after Malice, we have Vanquish Soul coming out. And I've played against tons of Vanquish Souls online, and that deck is so stupid. Like, I'm so biased, man, because I'm happy that Vanquish Soul got this good support, but if they don't chill out, they're going to have to hit the deck or touch it eventually, because in the OCG, Vanquish Soul and Vanquish Soul K9 is like one of the best decks over there.
Yeah, definitely scary.
And it's just like, oh no. We've wanted this our deck to be so consistent to get to Raisin for so long, and now they're going to be like Raisin to 1.
Yeah.
But that was Holy Sue is like a huge leap from what Labyrinth can do. Holy Sue is like insane. It's a turn zero interaction that's in theme with the deck. It's not a hand, it's not like non-engine hand trap. It's engine. It can summon out Raisin to a column to pop something. You can summon Mad Love to bounce something. It itself can allow itself to snatch steal if you have the right attributes. And I know some people are going to probably say, well, you have to have those right attributes. But it's Vanquish Soul, man. They're like, that's the crazy thing with all the new stuff is like they're now more than likely going to have those correct attributes.
Right.
And they're just going to either steal your stuff turn zero, like it's going to be crazy. Your normal summon's going to get Raisin blown up on your turn, like your first turn. And it gets even worse because K9 comes down. And K9's like the entire deck is like built around in a way like turn zero interaction. As soon as you activate something in the hand, it's like, all right, well, sweet. They all just start coming out. And then you get to get I think with the more like extravagant version of like them having something is you get to summon out Sin Lupus, and then like Lupus can come back, and then you get to XYZ on their turn into your negate. So like during their turn, they get access to a negate on your turn zero. Not to mention hand traps flying your way and everything. And I'm very curious to hear what you guys in the comment section have to say. But is this like the healthy way for the game to go? I know some people are a little bit in like 50-50. I've read some comments on some of the other videos, but is this the correct route to go? Is this like what the power creep is Konami's trying to put on us? Is like we're moving away from like non-engine, and they're going to start printing out more decks that have more in-engine turn zero interaction?
Well, man, I think I always start with this, but there are pros and cons, right? Because going second is probably the worst thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Unless you just open up the stones. The stones, right? But yeah, I think more so it's bad, right? Because like going back, right? We have Maxi. Like Maxi was just
turn ending. It was
turn ending. And now like we have the Molcharmies back, and there's just like there's so much stuff. But like I think the biggest thing is Konami keeps printing and like coming out with like new ideas of power creeping. Like it's like eventually it's gonna. I feel like it's gonna slowly like encave on itself.
Okay, yeah.
Because like now like you got some like you're saying like some crazy turn zero things that you're basically going first with your opponent, right? That's turn zero. So
it's not your first turn; it's our first turn.
And then if you stop their plays, like, well, now I'm passing and you're going first,
and you're getting a draw.
So like right now it's like it's weird, right? Because it's scary, but then it gets also exciting because like we're Yu-Gi-Oh! It's competitive. Like, you got to outthink it. You got to play with it. But I think it's scary for the future because like what are they gonna do that's like power creeps at turn zero shit?
So I was the direction.
Like,
I think it was a few formats ago. We were asking, we're like, what's the next power creep? Because like Snake Eyes, I think it was Snake Eyes was like so crazy compared to like the decks that existed before it. Like the decks that were good before Snake Eyes was here, and then when Snake Eyes got its full power, it was like up here. Like it was just such a gap between those two decks. or I should say the Snake Eyes and those decks, that we were like, man, like hopefully like when they ban or get rid of Snake Eyes, the level drops back down and it doesn't go from Snake Eyes and goes forward because Konami doesn't print decks fairly or equally. So they're still going to be printing and supporting decks and not giving them that crazy support. So they're not going to be able to compete with these decks that are like 3 leagues above them.
Yeah, that's rough. I mean, it's definitely like a slippery slope. I mean, for one, I would kind of wish that they'd like print slower cards. You know what I mean? Like, not so much, to where we're going back to GOAT format or anything.
Yeah, did you hear about those like changes that's had everyone up in uproar?
Dude, I've seen them. I haven't stopped and read them, but like I've definitely seen them. I've seen some of the comments and a lot of the memes. Thanks, Zoo. But like, well, so yeah, talk about that. Like, what are they doing?
I haven't really read it too much detail, but from what it seems like, they're allowing
pressure on me. I see how it is.
Yeah. So hopefully you read them. Yeah. I think from one that they're changing it. So like Edison and Time Wizard, you could play with like cards from that year. You know what I mean? From that format, essentially, right? And they had the same rules, but I think the new rules pretty much say that Go-Yo Guardian used to be generic, and the new Go-Yo Guardian that we have to play with has to use an Earth monster as a tuner. And the new rules are pretty much saying like you have to abide by the rules of the current cards. So like there were certain interactions before that you could get away with because the game, they hadn't been addressed or changed yet, and that's what you could play in that format. But Konami's now saying you have to abide by like the current rules of these cards. So like Go-Yo Guardian, you can't make it an Edison like you used to. You have to make it how we have to make it now, which requires 1 Earth tuner.
Like up-to-date rules.
Yeah, up-to-date rules.
Erratas and everything.
Yep, pretty much. That's what I think. Of course, comment section will let us know if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But, and there's other
Correct
changes.
us, please. But that if that is true, that's shit.
Yeah.
That's horrible. Like that's the whole premise of those formats is to go back into that like
that old school Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that.
I don't know. I wonder if there's like there were just some guys using like the errated Goyos and like maybe it helps like with I'm gonna say this and I don't mean to meanly, but like maybe it helps with some crybabies,
Yeah.
Like if you make a Goyo without an Earth tuner and it says on the
card Earth tuner,
and someone's like losing their mind.
Yeah, it's like wait a minute.
I could understand that to like, alleviate issues, but then again, I don't know, man.
So I think I've always had like my conspiracy theories is that we've seen Konami starting to support like other formats, but deep down in my mind, I've always felt like Konami doesn't care anything about these other formats. They only care about the advanced format.
Right.
That's the only thing they care about, and they will appeal to the players the minimal amount they can. Because we got Speed Duel. I don't know. Speed Duel pretty much crashed over here. No one played Speed Duel over here, and I don't think Konami supported it enough to even warrant it.
Yeah, they didn't really give it anything special.
And Edison and Time Wizard, all these different formats they've made, it's literally they don't have to do anything except for make the rules for it, right? Mm-hmm. So it doesn't cost them nothing. But by them doing this, maybe it's their way to drive more. If you can't, what's the point of playing Edison if you can't play like true Edison or true GOAT?
Right.
Might as well just go play the advanced format and die to 20 hand traps,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's...
So maybe that's Konami's like way to force the Edison player base, either force them out or force them into their advanced format. And of course, their companies, they're gonna win or lose regardless. They're gonna win no matter what because people are gonna buy the product.
It's 100% is probably a money grab, right? Because like there's only so many times that you can reprint GOAT cards and everything like that to where you're still getting profit. I would say would be the best thing, but I mean now. Because there's some players that they post on YouTube and Facebook groups, whatever. They're like, "Hey, I haven't played advanced format in X amount of years. I've been sticking to GOAT or Edison." And,
it's loved them in.
I mean, most of the people are just getting their money's worth. They have like this GOAT deck, which I mean, if you're a hardcore GOAT player, I'm sure those decks are worth quite a bit. But, but there's a lot of cheap GOAT decks that you can just go throw together and go play and win a giant card or something.
Yeah, and then you get your value back out of it. Yeah. So I'm interested to see what happens or how the community reacts to that moving forward. But other than that, I mean, we have to talk about. So we talked about the decks coming out of Battles of Legend, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, hold up! I totally forgot to do this at the beginning of the video. But huge shout out, guys! We are officially sponsored by Dueling Guard. I have it right here. This is their Maliqua. They're rotten. I can't remember the name of it. Their deck box though, just pretty cheap. I have their TCG bag, which I should have put down here on the table, but it's up here. It's like pretty sweet. It's like really compact and everything.
Oh, nice. Is this Dark Souls?
Elden Ring for all you
Elden Ring.
Yeah. Night Rain fans. There you go. But use code COG to get 5% off your order. And thank you for, Dueling Guard for being affiliated and sponsoring the channel. But anyway, back at it. Should have did that in the beginning, but totally forgot.
Good.
So Battles of Legend, the deck's coming out. But have you heard about the whole issue where the European and I think Latin America, they're forced to wait like 1 to 2 months longer than us here in the TCG. Well, we're all in TCG, but us here in the US and North America.
Right.
Because of a clumping issue. And I've seen so much backlash from that, and I am so like different on it because I'm like, yeah, it's kind of crappy that you guys are making them wait this long, but at the same time, like from what I understand is the clumping is that some people are going to get a lot of starlights and some people are not going to get starlights, and of course only one person wins that entire scenario is the person getting all the starlights. So they're taking longer to fix the clumping issues so that they're more equally distributed out there.
Yeah, I mean we've seen that in the past, right? Like a couple years ago, I forget what set it was, but like people were just opening up boxes of starlights, like not even QCRs, but they were just like 4 or 5 starlights.
Yeah,
and
I think that was what began the whole thing where people started to think that the sponsored content creators boxes were weighted because we'd see. I remember it was years ago. And it was like right around when Starlights first came out, it was some like content creator was like opening a bunch of Starlights, and then people were saying that they didn't get the amount of same Starlights, but so why they were saying that essentially Konami is sending loaded boxes to content creators for people to see and then want to go buy the product and then not buy anything.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's some business scheme underneath everything that.
Oh yeah, Konami.
We can put our tin hats on all day.
Konami is not there. I just can't see it. Konami's not pulling back production to fix a clumping issue. Like, they didn't even have to say anything about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they could just let it go, and then we would never know if there was a clumping issue, right? Like, we can only speculate and assume, but there's probably something underneath or underlying, going on.
Oh, for sure, 100%. I mean, I can...
To be a Konami worker, man, to be there and understand what's really going on.
I think I remember seeing something about, like, Konami doesn't make money off the secondary market or anything like that, but, like... In a weird sense, they kind of have to. I mean, and it depends on the player and depends on how you purchase your cards or whatever. But like, if you go into your local shop, right, and your local shop runs out of stuff, where are they going to get the new supply? Konami, right? So so either way, they're making money, some type of money off the secondary market. It's not direct by any means, unless there's like secret TCG accounts.
I got my tin foil on even deeper. That there's some TCG players or TCG player sellers that are probably just Konami.
I mean, probably.
We don't know. Riddle me that. Like, they're names John Konami. Sure, that's not Konami. I want to buy from him.
Right.
And they're still making
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% positive that it's a money thing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you probably don't want to flood the market with like a bunch of starlights or whatever. Like, sure, right?
And see, I don't know if it was an issue with like mass printing of starlights or if it was a clumping of starlights. If it was mass printing, it makes sense because then because then that means there's more starlights out in circulation than what was originally intended, and that would make a little bit of sense for them to pull back. But then if it's just clumping, like I don't see like clumping, like you have no way to validate clumping except for like somebody to be like, I pulled 3 starlights from my box. It's, well, you know what, you got 1 in a million.
Yeah, I mean,
and it happens. Like, we've seen people. I've opened a box and only pulled 1 secret out of a box I guarantee to give you 2.
Yeah.
So like, it's definitely like the options there for the universe to be thankful for, or to gift someone.
Right. Yeah.
Like, oh, here's 3 starlights.
Yeah.
Not gonna be me, but
yeah, that'll never happen to me, dude. But like, I mean, yeah, I could see it. I mean, it's just. I don't know, man. It's kind of wild if you think about it. So it's just, yeah.
There's not much. It does suck for European players, though. You have to wait like 2 weeks, or not 2 weeks, like 2 months before you get your stuff. Which I assume they will allow players to buy from like the U.S. market and stuff like that and use.
Oh yeah,
there ain't no way they're gonna be like, sorry, EU and Latin American players, you guys can't use Battles of the Legend. It's not legal for your events.
Yeah, I don't foresee that happening because I mean I know a lot of people over here that they prefer the European prints.
Yeah, it's like reverse,
so
right?
So I'm sure
we want Euro prints, but they want American prints.
Yeah,
it's kind of wild.
I mean, I'm sure they'd be kind of assholes if they're like, hey, you can't use Battle of Legend cards because that's dumb, but
we've seen them do worse.
Yeah.
But we can talk about this also this weekend. Not YCS, Italian Nationals happen in Bologna, I think. And I was going to quickly hop on here and see what deck won it. See if they'll tell us here.
Hopefully. I don't even know. It's over, right?
Yep,
It started
yep.
Friday and ended yesterday.
It is over. We'll go to ygopro.deck. It looks like the winner, make sure this is the same, Italian National Championship 2025. The winner was Rossi Flamino, taking the entire nationals with Memento. Memento, yep.
You know what? I'm gonna go rant. Every time we expect Memento to do great, no, doesn't even show up.
Yeah, never.
Look in the last podcast, all right? Or previous podcast, I should say. We was like, hey, Memento's crazy. It's gonna show up. It's gonna do some crazy things. Gone.
Didn't even. Yeah. Yep.
Maybe Memento is the new Sun Avalon.
I mean,
Maybe that's the Europeans' new favorite deck. I don't know.
Yep. And then runner up is Ryziel at third place or second place, and then third place is Mitsurugi, with then, if I can count right, fourth place Mermail, fifth place Ryziel, then Mitsurugi, and then a Malice finally down here in the top 16. That's crazy to see. Malice kind of flopped. I mean, don't get me wrong. Before anyone comes at me, deck's crazy, deck's insane. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes to like it's showing, like everyone always thought this deck would be like tier 0. Malice would take everything by swarm, and the deck has like still performs, but not to like the level that I think we all thought it would.
Right.
And then Crystron down here also, and I believe the top 16 as well.
Was that Yassine's by chance?
Nope. Ricciardo Boda.
Oh, Ricciardo.
Yeah, Yassine Horus.
Yeah, I know. Yassine just topped with the Crystron recently. I don't
Yeah,
know if
he's
it's
been-
regional or
Yeah, at a YCS.
YCS.
Yeah.
Okay.
At a YCS. He went down to the Latin America YCS. I forget, Ecuador, I think.
I think it was Ecuador.
Yeah,
actually.
he went down
That
there and
sounds
ended up
good.
doing that. Which another content creator put out an entire thing about Ecuador and said that it was kind of controversial, and he had to come out and make a community post. I'm not going to put any names out there of which content creator it was, but if you know, you know. But it's just an insight discussion. He kind of came and said that we shouldn't have events in like South America anymore, and that we should have events in Mexico, which is still South America, but like instead of having events, because he's saying that it's unfair because the accessibility to cards that these players have isn't like the same as we have. And then it's been time and time again, we see American players fly down there and do well at the tournaments. And it's just like an easy YCS topper win. And Mexico, I guess, has numbers in the past to show and has a prominent player base. And it caused this huge type of spark and uproar from people, you know, I won't say lashing out, but inside discussion with the content creator. And they were saying like, you know, no, don't take away YCSs from, you know, Latin America. Like that's just kind of like a bad take, which I agree. I agree it's a bad take. I think you shouldn't be allowed, like you should be allowed to have your YCS in your region. It doesn't matter, you know, as long as there's a player base there that facilitates Konami enough income.
Right.
And then he went on to say that, and with his tinfoil hat on, that he thinks that the South or the South American or Latin America YCSs is tax write-offs because they don't make as much money as they put into it. So they are able to write that off in taxes. And that's why you always see one Latin America YCS, even though that sometimes their numbers aren't always like there.
Yeah.
Because they can do write-offs, which is interesting. I don't know enough about like big corporate taxes to know if that's like
Right.
something they can do, but it was something to talk about. And it's just kind of interesting because I think here on the podcast, I think let Latin America have their, you know, what big YCS is.
Yeah.
I even one time, like jokingly, I don't ever think I'll be able to do it, but I was like, heck, it'd be kind of cool to fly down to like Brazil or fly down to like Ecuador
Oh yeah, dude, that'd be.
and play in like one of their YCSs. I mean, you know what? Yeah, arguably I might have an advantage because I can afford the cards, and they just, and you know, their prices of Yu-Gi-Oh down there is tremendously different. You know, like one play set of something is like $500 or $600, whereas for us it's like $200.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
so that's huge. But it's just not, you know, don't take away from him. I do kind of disagree. It's just kind of, we saw with Team Sam, he won a YCS, but it was like in South America or something like that, or it was Mexico. I forget which one it was.
I think it was South America.
I forget which one he won. He like, well, not to discredit him, but like we see this happen quite a bit. We see a lot of pro players, I say quote pro players of the TCG or the North America. They go to those South American events, and if they don't win it, they're either like a top 32 and stuff like that. So I kind of agree that some of us North American
Yeah,
players
like
use that as like an easy way to go get a top at a YCS. But again, Yu-Gi-Oh is like, what are you getting out of that? Yu-Gi-Oh is, we're here for the name, you know, we're not here for the prizing.
Right, yeah, I
So
mean-
like passport, international flight, like surely you're spending more than what you're getting. So essentially you're
Oh,
flying down there
100%.
what to say you topped a YCS. I mean, and then some, but then
I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're doing all this for, right? Bragging rights, right?
Yeah, bragging rights. That's all that we're going for. But I mean, it must be like, you topped a YCS? Yeah, I topped a YCS. Which YCS? And they go like, YCS Bolivia, 60 players. And it's like, oh. And then it just feels like it discredits the like people aren't gonna. Whereas like if you're at like YCS Pittsburgh, which is happening in November, it's like, yeah, I topped a YCS. Which one? Pittsburgh, 1,200 players. It's like, damn, dude, that's an accomplishment.
Right.
Versus like you went down to some like daddy like country where the players like couldn't rally, locals, like
Yeah, I mean, it adds a lot. I'm gonna take a little drink here, but it begins to, the questions start adding up, right? Like, but then again, like, there's Yu-Gi-Oh players all over the world, which I think is like awesome thing being a Yu-Gi-Oh player, but I don't think, hands down, if Jesse Cotton came down to our Nebraska YCS, right?
Nebraska,
like,
YCS Scottsbluff,
he probably stomp us too, But I don't know, man. Like, card prices down there, I'm sure. I don't know the whole currency situations.
I've noticed it in some YouTubers that I'm able to catch, or I see their videos, because I get to see like they have their entire deck like proxied, because it's cheaper for them to print the proxy down there with printer ink and stuff than it is to go actually buy the cards.
Right. But I mean, I wouldn't take, because I mean, shoot, man, like I remember having nationals be like a goal for me, And so like, let them have them goals and like let them go and experience that. Because if our nationals and stuff are always in Canada or somewhere else, and like, I mean, it's expensive. Like it's probably expensive hobby, to like travel and buy the cards and stuff. So like, don't cut. I understand what that. I don't even know his name. So like, so like I don't even know his name, but like I understand what his reasonings are. Like it's just like a cheap win, But like.
Yeah, and I think his argument stands more so. I'd have to like read his response, but I think from not taking it to be like an aggressive, or like bad jab at South American or Latin America. I keep saying Latin America. It's Latin America. Latin American players. It was essentially, he's like saying, like, it's kind of unfair for you guys to be allowed to have this YCS, and then you just have these players who have, due to like circumstance, they have access to the cards that you guys don't, and they're able to come down and take your guys' YCS, which doesn't always happen. Like, I think this is like, there's only a handful of them where most of the time someone from Latin America wins them. You know what I mean? So it's not like they're taking the win from them, but they are taking like top spots that could be given to other players in their communities that deserve it. But I guess like that's the thing, right? It's like a YCS. It's a Yu-Gi-Oh Championship series, not like a national. So that's like the drive is you're supposed to go to these YCSs. They're supposed to be for all manner of players.
I mean, at the end of the day, Yu-Gi-Oh is like a privilege, not a right. You know? So I mean, I'm not saying that like it's cheating or like a cheap way to get a top, but I mean, shit, man, Jesse Cotton earns those tops. And like you just said, some of those Latin players, like they get up there and like
they're not slouches by any means. Yeah, so like
so I mean, like it's a card game, it's a competitive card game. So like obviously, dude, there's some times that there's going to be a really good player that just can't afford those cards, and that's unfortunately that's life. But like, and I'm not discrediting them or anything, but it is what it is.
So then it makes me wonder if really is that just like a fake thing people have like started, not really a fake, but like a excuse that people have been like bringing up, like, so then if it really doesn't matter whether the YCS is in Ecuador or Kansas, it doesn't matter where it's at, because it's still like, is that just like a fake I'm trying to think of the word, like a fake facade that someone's put on saying like, oh, it's easier to go to YCS.
100%, dude. Like
when in reality it's not. Like,
I'm sure there's good players everywhere around the world, right? But like, it just depends on where you're at in your life situation, that if you can afford the cards or if you can afford to travel. Like, dude, there might be like some dude living in a hut in Africa right now who could beat everybody in the world, but like he can't travel. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's like, I'm not saying that to be a bad thing or anything, but like it's a very possibility. You know? Like,
it is. Yeah.
But like I mean, shoot, if it's gonna sit there and make more players go down and play and stuff and get into it, then by all means do it. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. Sometimes people, and maybe I'm like over.
Can I make excuse?
Like maybe I'm overthinking this, but like maybe they're a little salty and they like don't try to take someone's win away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that was one of the defenses when people came to Sam's defense when he won his YCS. That was the one thing that people kind of like. You had, of course, the fans who were like, "Good job, Sam. Good for you." But a lot of the haters, that was their thing. Was like, "Oh, you just went here because it was an easy win." And that's I get what you're trying to say. Is because those are just trying to take away from his win because they're jealous because they couldn't do.
Yeah, man. I mean.
Yeah, because I can. Yeah, like.
I mean, Sam lives in Canada. Like
Toronto. I think Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, but like I'm sure Canada to was it Brazil or wherever he won.
Yeah, I swear it must have been Mexico. And maybe it was Mexico.
I have no idea, but like, he flew all the way out there, man. He spent
his own money.
I'm sure he makes a hell of a lot more money than I do, but like, yeah, he has the funds. He flew all the way out there, you know. He showed up. He dueled every day, just like everybody else.
Yep.
It's not like he.
And we watch his videos, man. You see his like local videos. He's no different than us. I watched this man misplay while playing like Regina. His last video was Regina Castiro. And people voted for him to play it. I've seen him misplay. Yeah, so like he's no different than us. But so yeah, like he earned that win regardless of location.
And I feel like there's gonna be some trolls coming out of the comments here. I'm not riding his dick, you know. Like I like Team Sam. He's a cool dude. But like at the end of the day, dude, he's just a normal dude. He's just playing a card game, and he hangs out with like some of the world's best players of Yu-Gi-Oh. So his testing is like way more phenomenal than mine.
Top tier.
So like he has every right to go out there and top. You know what I mean? So I mean,
and like
I'm not going to take his win away. I'm not going to sit there and say that like.
And with him, so he's in a particular situation, whereas like for you or me to justify flying out to these other countries to play at a YCS, what we put out in terms of travel, accommodations, food, etc., doesn't give. If we win or even top, we don't get that back. But with him being such one of the biggest content creators for Yu-Gi-Oh, not only does he pay for his way out there, but then he has the ability to make like 2 or 3 videos off of this trip, and then those views will bring him in more than what he probably paid to go out there, along with doing well. So it's very smart for him to do it, and I understand because I think Patrick Hoban is one of those players that I've caught wind that goes out there, and he's just known by name. He doesn't have like a YouTube, I don't think, or anything like that. He has so he just goes out he's in it for for the name. He's out there to keep his name going.
Yeah, I mean, like one of the most wholesome things that maybe I am riding his dick. I don't know, but like Syriax. Like Syriax isn't like a super like knowledgeable TCG player yet. I mean, but what was that 3v3 that he took Syriax on? Syriax did Blue Eyes. I think it was Pack and Sam. Or I don't remember who the third was, but it was Sam and Syriax. It was Pack. Yep. But like, yeah, dude, just took his buddy out to go, and like I'm sure he wasn't expecting Syriax to be Jesse Cotton level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I mean, he had, what is it? Like, look at the level of people he had with him. Like Triff, Jesse. Like he could have showed. I think that I don't know if the Gabe still plays up there. I've seen him every now and then in videos.
Yeah, every now and then, yeah. But
he out of all the people he could have chose to be on his 3v3, which would have guaranteed to him, potentially a better placement. He chose Syriax, who's like, who whoops Sam a Master Duel, but
yeah, like it's just, I mean, you can view him as like some cheating tyrant going down to some other country to get an easy win, or you can just view him as the dude he like likes the card game and like he wants to incorporate his friend and get his friend into it and like have a good time.
I was watching another player, another content creator, and he was streaming, and I was driving back from work, and they were talking about he was getting ready to take Branded to a regional, and this guy in the comment section, this is because we can relate to this, said just go to Bozeman, Montana for an easy win. And dude, it kind of cracked me up because we were at Bozeman Regional, and that's just kind of wild to think that, because what was it, like 70 people, like a very tiny regional, but it was just kind of like, I don't know, arrogant for that person to think that just because it's a small regional, like they have one of the most competitive Yu-Gi-Oh scenes I've seen in a while. Like
they're so like hands down, we know in our friend group, and I could probably like spend another hour complaining about this. Bozeman is like my bane. Like I just like I go down there, dude, and I just get throttled every time, and like I don't know if it's like the aura that I walk in, I'm just already expecting to lose, but like man, like Bozeman has some really good players. Shout out to Bozeman and Billings, like love you guys.
That's the crazy thing though, is before they started having these regionals, the communities would have their own thing called states. And that was their like big giant. That was their regional for them since the stores couldn't get Konami to do it, and then they finally got it, and then. Dude, like round 1, sitting up there, you're playing against these people who have topped or won their own states because it's so small, 70 people, but it's like there's 70 good players in here, or there's like 50 good players and 20 bad players,
Right.
and you know what I mean. And these bad players, you're not gonna get stuck with them. You know what I mean? Especially,
Right.
I mean, maybe if you start losing, you'll get down there with them. But there was a guy, you and our buddy Caleb played him. He was a Valmonica player.
Yeah.
Dude, and he Valmonica, like, we didn't believe Caleb at first, dude. We did, and we're like, dude, you lost to Valmonica?
Yeah, dude, we gave him shit for like weeks.
Yeah.
And then Bozeman, like I sat across the table and he started playing Valmonica, and I'm just like, I forget which, I think I was playing Chimera at the time.
Chimera, yep.
Horrible, dude. I got slapped. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't even good. And I just looked at Caleb and I was like, I am sorry. Like, yeah,
like this dude buttered I fortunately was able to dodge him, but I remember just being able to watch him play through the day, and then someone be like, what'd you lose to? Valmonica. And it's crazy because since you're such a small regional, you knew exactly who they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, there's only one Valmonica player in the room.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh God.
Yeah, it was bad. And like, he was a really good player. Like, shout out to him. I, for life of me, can't remember his name. But,
hopefully we never encounter him again.
yeah, dude, if you're ever playing Valmonica, stay the fuck away.
but
Sorry for the F-bomb.
But no, that's just, again, like that maybe that's a similar instance, right? Is you have someone saying, hey, go to this location because of its location and size, it's going to be easy. And that's just like disrespectful to the players.
Yeah.
Because, like there's like some monsters up there in Billings.
Yeah.
At least, I think like 3 or 4 of them right off the top of my...
Oh,
for the ones that even just topped their first regional up there, like, those guys like played hard and everything, and then like those same guys that topped their regional were guys who'd like won or placed at their own state tournaments, which if you guys, their state tournaments are like cash prizing. Like there's more like drive to want to go to the state tournament than there is to go to the regional.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, people try to steal other people's wins and try to discredit other places.
Yep.
I don't know, man. Like, at the end of the day, just respect each other.
Yep.
That's all it has to be. And I know for Yu-Gi-Oh players, it's like the hardest thing in the world for it. But just
because Yu-Gi-Oh is a complex competitive card game, because on one side the game is just nothing but variance. That's really what it is. Luck. Really, at the end of the day, top 5. You can try to implement calculations and probably to change things, but at the end of the day, it is truly just down to like luck.
And there's some days that you might do better at a rock paper scissors tournament than a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
it's just that.
That's what makes it so difficult. Is like it's such a game that does take skill. Like it's more like you have to have skill to do with the first 5 cards you get, and we get like this really competitive, skillful mindset. When in reality, it's truly like, again, luck at the end of the day. Like, yes, skill does play into it, but people at this game, people get so caught up in being like professional or skillful in the game, and it's like skill only goes so high in a game of luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, definitely there's luck is like the biggest thing. Like you're depending on luck before you even draw those first 5 cards. But skill, I think when skill comes in, is you gotta read what your opponent has and everything. But...
and then knowledge. Again, I think skill, like I think some people think of skill. There's not like a definition of skill in Yu-Gi-Oh, but in my mind, when you say skill in Yu-Gi-Oh, I think of knowing what your cards do, knowing what your opponent's cards do, and knowing how their cards interact with you and how you interact with them. Because it doesn't make any sense for you to put up, say your deck puts out like 2 spell and trap negates against like Mermail, who plays only 3 spells in their entire deck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, that means you know what this deck does. But if you don't know it, you're going to do, you know what I mean? So that's what I think skill.
Luck-wise is just, for example, me, when I was playing Math Mech and I go to like 2 regionals in a row, and then my first is Flow Wonderies and Shifter, like it's just, okay, it's skill. But,
took all that skill.
It just happens, dude. And like, if that does ever happen to you, somebody drops a Shifter or Lancia or whatever deck you're playing, whatever card beats your deck, it's not their fault, man. They're just there to have fun, and play, and
win. I mean, they're the same.
I mean, everybody's there to win, but I don't know, man. Just be respectful. If someone wins, don't try to take that away from them.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believe in, like sometimes you gotta sit there and like you do misplay, and you lose because of your misplay, but at the same time, you can only blame yourself so much. Like, the opponent still attacked you and brought your life points to 0. So like he still got it regardless of your misplay. So, but anyway, we'll quickly go ahead and go over. You're going to show us some Orcust combos here.
Orcust combos.
Yeah, so we're
going
to go
ahead and do
ahead
anything wrong, please light me up. But hopefully it should be all right.
All right.
Simple, basically 1.5 combos. We're going to start with Gearsu. So basically, it's going to normal summon Gearsu. Gearsu's effect is going to Foolish Burial and Orcust or
basically it would be like your World Wander or anything like that. Whatever's needed at the moment. But to start out the combo, it'll be Nightmare. And then his secondary effect is when he's the only card on the field. You give you and your opponent a token, but we can't see the opponent's field, so that doesn't really matter. Then we're going to take that token and we're just going to link it off for our new Link 1 Galatea. Yeah, so Link 1, the Orcust automaton. I wouldn't pick the name, but you know, whatever. So with her effect, basically that's going to be the 0.5 card. You just discard a blank card. If it's an additional Orcust monster, I mean, it'll help you in the combo, or if not, you know, got to do it. So we're going to search our Babel. Activate Babel. This helps us dodge the Bestials. Turns all of our Orcust in the grave to quick effects. So from there, we're going to Nightmare, target anything on the field to, that's the extra deck, to dump Harp Horror. And then from there, we're going to take these guys and go to Link 2s. For our OG Love of Our Life, Galatea. With her effect, you're going to shuffle your Nightmare back in so we can set our Crescendo. And for those who don't know, Crescendo is as long as you have an Orcust Sleep monster on the field, it is a Counter Trap, Omni Negate, and Banish, which is pretty good. From there, we are going to Harp, Banish itself to summon a Symbol Skeleton from deck. And then for our Link 1, with editing done right, we'll see, I'm sure Charles will have a picture of her, show the effect and everything, but what you're going to do is banish a Orcust, the special summoner, back out. And then from here, we have our Link 4, which is, I can't even pronounce it. It's like N Ligirsu. I don't know. He looks really cool, man. So it's going to be our Link 4. Granted, I know it's going to be editing, but it's still upside down. Kind of bothers me. So from there, we can always end here. It's completely up to you where you want to go. Another fun thing that you could do is banish Skeleton to bring out Galatea back. And then overlay for your Dingirsu. And then with your new Link 4, since we gave our opponents a token, we can use his effect to shuffle. Let me get this right here. Let me read these cards. You can target one of your banished and add it to your hand, which, I mean, it could be Harp Horror, however you want. You can add it to your, shuffle it in, and you can take control of that token. So now, boom, right here. And then with these two, we'll just link these two off for an IP. And that IP will set up for SP Little Knight and stuff combos. So let me go ahead and set back up, and we'll do Harp, just one Harp Horror. So this second combo is just going to be Harp. With this new Link 1 coming in, it's basically, once we drew, before the Link 1 came out, if you drew Harp, and you had no way to discard it, like, it was kind of sad because you just, you know, T-set it up and pray to God. But now, with Harp, it's just a normal summon. And then with Harp, you can just link off into our new Galatea, which is going to be our Link 1. And her effect, in case you missed it on the first part of the combo, is basically discard a card. So this is just going to be a blank sleeve, just to represent anything. And then add our Babel. And then I like to activate Babel right away just to dodge Bestials. And then from there, we're going to banish our Harp to go right back into our boy Girsu. Girsu effect upon summon is going to be to dump. So we're going to dump our Nightmare. And then from there, we're going to link 2 to the lovely ulti Galatea. And then Galatea's effect, you can shuffle the Harp in to set the Crescendo. And then from there, we can Nightmare, target our Galatea to send our Skeleton. And then from here, we kind of have a couple options here. We can banish our Girsu to summon out our Link 1. And then what we do, go into our OG Link 3. I don't have that with me. I forgot it at home, unfortunately. But we're just doing this here for link climbing. So this is going to be the OG Link 3 Long Girsu, I do believe is his name. And then Skeleton, we're going to banish Skeleton to summon our Galatea. And then we're just going to upgrade into our Ding Ding effect is going to give us our skeleton to re-equip. And then we'll just go up into our link 4, which is still Monster Stealer. And since that's pretty much where we end there, unless you have like other ways to extend, but you have Symbol Skeleton in the grave for your Ding setup. We have a Monster Steal, we have a Counter Trap, and then we still have a bunch of Orcust effects here. So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Jason, for showing us those combos. And it just seems like all those, like, very low to the ground. Not want to say low to the ground, but one card, low investment, right? One card gets you to like 2 or 3 disruptions. And that's not even including you might have cards in your hand. Are you planning to play the horse variant? Is that on your list?
I'm really thinking about it because it gives you a better go in second, I think, because I think horses by itself is pretty good at breaking boards.
Yep.
You can set up big monsters and then Sark if you attack non-sends and stuff. And then Mseti, if they interrupt you in any way, Mseti's a free send too.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Yeah.
But I mean, it's good to get you can do the rank 8, the zombie hunter, or
Zombie vampire. Yeah.
zombie vampire. You can mill.
Yeah. Or
which is good too.
What's that? Number 90 to protect from, I guess, Nib. But I mean, considering you might, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have a Nib issue, but once again, like depending on where the combos are and stuff at when you do get nibs, like you have Nightmare and stuff to extend. It just depends on the hand.
Do you have any lines underneath Lancia that you know of off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head.
Or is that something we'll have to wait for like a possible profile to pop up on the channel?
Oh yeah, there's definitely gonna be a profile coming up on the channel. Definitely got to think about it because Lance. Right now in the format, Lancia and Chaos Hunter is out there for Malice already, so it's kind of hurting already.
Yeah,
so.
There's a silver bullet already, but
yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think that's all we got here for the podcast today.
Sweet.
So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please remember, if you guys enjoy this type of content, hit that subscribe button, ding that notification bell if you guys want to help.
Do it.
Yeah, do it. Support the channel directly. Hit that join button, become members. You all know how it is. Check out our sponsor, Dueling Guard. Use our code. And Charles and Jason signing off.
Sweet. See you guys later.